Well, thanks for joining everybody. We find ourselves in the second quarter of the year. How do we feel about that? Spring
Man,
is spring is springing.
it is here.
It is here, like it or not, huh?
In Florida, springtime actually brings along allergies, not snowstorms.
Well, that's our springtime too, except for I don't have to suffer.
Yeah.
Well,
Uh,
give us a 30,000 foot view of your thoughts, David, what we aim to accomplish, kind of what we put together, and we'll go from there.
yeah, so I think today we're going to kind of do a recap of what our business planning was at the beginning of this year. We went through kind of setting our reverse goals, tracking out some strategies and things that we can do in our business to accomplish those goals to get us to the ultimate, income goal that we set for ourselves. And if you don't have that, we can go through a quick recap. We're also going to dive into something new today, something Jared and I have been working on. And it's kind of about, what we kind of view as the five pillars of our business. And it's a great model to kind of assess yourself against to see where you are succeeding or where you have opportunities to grow in your business. You can use it as a judge to kind of evaluate yourself and see, again, what do we need to work on to get where we want to go and where are we already winning so that we can continue to build upon that.
There you
And
go.
so we'll kind of introduce that to you guys today and go over that a little bit. And
I guess as far as it goes for sales totals, you want to share any of your totals, your goals, anything that you've kind of set or reached for yourself?
Absolutely. So full transparency, I am actually behind on my goals this year. I set a rough goal of basically 2 transactions a month. Um, and I'm going to be even more embarrassed. I can't even tell you what the full number was, income wise on my chart because it's hanging in my actual office and I'm not there right now. But I know that I'm very far behind. I have 2 closed transactions for the year so far, so I'm not even averaging one a month. And that's exactly why we have these quarterly reviews and check-ins with ourselves, is so that I can say, well, hey, Q1 wasn't on par where I need to be with my goals. Now, am I actually shocked by this? No, because I know historically in my business, every year as I've tracked it, my Q1 is always awful. And I know why my Q1 is always awful, and it's because I pretty much take all of December off. I do not do what I need to do in my business throughout the whole month of December, almost Thanksgiving to New Year's. I'm with my family. I'm enjoying our time. My sisters are all in town. I'm in Florida, so everybody's on vacation. I take off and I pretty much just hang out. So I expect Q1 to always be slow for me, right? We're in a business that what we do today dictates 60 to 90 days from today. So when I slacked off, 90 days ago, I'm paying for it today.
Well, and at least you're being honest.
Oh, that's the beautiful thing about our career, right? Is we get to choose when we want to show up and not. But when we don't show up, we don't get rewarded either.
Right.
And I'll tell you, my Q2 now and going into Q3 will be big because I work my ass off Q1 to rebuild it. If you stay consistent though all the time, you won't get these highs and lows in your business. You will get, there's always going to be a ripple, but it'll be a ripple and not peaks and valleys. So diving
Consistency
into
pays.
what's that?
Consistency pays.
Consistency pays. Time
I
on
guess
task over time.
I guess anybody else want to share their Q1 results, how they're feeling, how their business is going?
My
Success.
business
I gotta
is
agree
doing
with
great.
David. I'm sorry.
What was that, Brandy?
I said I gotta agree with David. I mean, the kids are off through Thanksgiving, through Christmas, so we go out and do stuff. And now, like David said, I gotta bust my ass and showing trailer houses like a mad woman.
They all add up.
They truly
That's right. I
do.
told my husband I'll sell a doghouse if that's what they're buying right now.
And it's selling.
I told Jared I would fly to Pueblo to sell a house right now. I don't care where it's at. Let's get the money.
Hey, Bobby's already down there. Take a
Yeah,
referral.
Bobby's already there.
Haley, what were you
Give
going
me
to
a
say?
break. I need the help.
Right,
Um,
Bobby will take it.
My first quarter has been really strong.
That's
I
because
guess
you work, Haley,
What'd you say?
because you work. See how that goes? It's really
Yep.
cool. It works that way.
And I'll say that as a testament to knowing Haley, right? Haley does not slow down. She still has her weekends and she still goes out and she has fun. She's still enjoying the fruits of her labor, but Haley is consistent. Haley shows up every day. You know, and that it shows in her business 100%.
If there's anything I could say is it's to during like December, that's actually the hardest time for me personally to work. Especially like right over Christmas. So I'm usually off for that week where I just don't do anything at all. It's probably the only time of the year where I don't do anything at all.
Right.
I think that you have to find a way to overcome like the holiday and not, and it's very easy to like, hey, like you said, the kids are off and this and all of that sort of thing. For example, my wife, let's go to Vegas. Let's go to Vegas. You've got to find a way to still continue doing the same, have some consistency somewhere. And for me, my consistency is really staying in contact with my past clients. Because I'm pretty much 100% referral-based business, repeat and referral-based business. So for me, I'm sending holiday cards and stuff like that. And so I can enjoy the last 2 weeks of the year.
Right.
And I think we're going to get into this when we get into the pyramid, but Haley, I would say you have a systems and processes together, which is part of our pyramid that allows you though, that when you do want to step back, your business can continue to operate and run because you've set up that process in your business. So when you do want to take a weekend away to Vegas, you want to take a week off for Christmas, you can keep going, right?
Yeah.
You've built upon that. It works in your business. So we're definitely going to dive more into that. I'm going to share my screen here.
But I think that's
Can
a
I
good
interrupt
point.
real quick?
Sure. Yes.
Haley, can you expand on what you do with your past clients? I know you said you send holiday cards. What kind of else do you do with that?
I call them, I email them. When I think about them, I call them and tell them I'm thinking about them and just very genuine, how you doing?
Okay, because I was thinking about mine yesterday and I was like, but what do you say?
Hey, I was thinking about you. How are you?
How's,
And that's just the truth. I try to send, like I said, scratch tickets to them every quarter, especially at the end of November. And I just say happy holidays because everybody's holiday is different, right?
Sure.
And then I follow up in the first 2 weeks of January with a call to see if they won.
That's awesome. Okay.
Hey, Brandy, real quick. You've heard of the Ford approach, right?
No.
Family, occupation, recreation, dreams. FORD. Family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. If you have nothing else to talk about, hey, how's it going? How's the family? How's work? How's the summer plans? Any dreams for vacation? Ford's always a great conversation starter. I would also suggest an eProperty Watch is a free opportunity for us to put all of our past clients and purchasers on a valuation report that goes out to a monthly, to where when you give them a call, hey, did you see your report? What do you think of your value? Is also a great conversation.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
I'll share this. My lender, Bruce, who's phenomenal. If you don't know him, and if you don't have anybody, small plug for Bruce. Bruce called me yesterday and said, hey, I've got a buyer client for you. Like, wow, my lender actually sends me referrals. It's phenomenal. I said, awesome. Well, who is it? He goes, I'm going to be honest, dude. I don't remember this guy. He says he did a loan with me in 2004. I had to go back and try to find him. He's been getting my emails monthly since, they started email campaigns, because we sure didn't do that in 2004. He's like, I've just added him to my database and he's been getting my emails all this time, but he's moving now from Denver to Florida and wants to buy a house down there. He just got him qualified for 550. You want it? Absolutely, I do. But the amazing thing was, number one, Bruce had a database. Number two, Bruce did nothing with it. He let the database do what the database does, this automatic systems. And he had somebody call him up that he doesn't even remember from 2004, and he's going to get a new loan out of it. So it goes back to systems and processes. It's totally going to pay off in the long run. All right.
You know what else I do too? If they tell me they've been thinking about it and they, say a time frame or whatever, to call them back or whatever. Yeah, I'm thinking maybe in the spring. Guess who I'm calling in the spring? That's big with my past clients, right? Just to give you guys an example, I have one right now, one under contract we're actively buying, and he's my past client that he's been telling me for a year that he's thinking about making the move. And he finally pulled the trigger, and I just kept calling him every time he told me to call him.
Right.
That's another thing I do with my past clients when they tell me, yeah, I'm thinking maybe in the spring. Hey, it's springtime.
You're my new best friend. You're still my best friend.
All right, I'm gonna share my screen here now, get back into this. You guys are seeing my monthly tracker.
Yep.
Let me readjust my camera here. I'm finally good. All right. So just a quick review, right? What we're doing here is our goals going here in the top. Kind of work backwards. What would we like our ideal income to be per month? I know it says per client here. This is actually an old PDF that I quickly pulled back up. What our target income is, we break that in reverse prospect into how many closings that looks like, into how many contracts does it actually take to get to that number of closings, and how many appointments do we ultimately need to get that many contracts. And if you are behind on this, you don't have these numbers, or you don't know what this looks like for you, feel free to DM me or call me or text me anytime, and we can have a quick one-on-one and we can go back through this with you. And then down here, you actually track, so you can tell this was definitely a draft. We're actually tracking how many appointments did we get this week, how many contracts we have, how many closings, and what income did we actually get this month to keep us on track. And I do review this monthly. I do go through this, right? This is why I know for sure I'm actually not on target. I know I didn't hit my appointment goals. I know I didn't hit my contract goals, which did not then in turn lead to closings and the income that I wanted. We also have this, I use this as my hot sheet, right? Of course, I use my CRM, and if you're logging in on Thursdays, you're seeing how I'm using it and working through it. I still keep a paper sheet with me. Maybe I'm a little bit old school, but I like to know at all times who are my hottest people. So when I am just driving in the car, or I have some downtime, they're fresh in my mind. I might just pick up the phone and give them a quick call, see where they're at. And I constantly know who I'm working with, who the warmest leads are. And I'm keeping track of who my new appointments might be, my new contracts, my closed contracts. And this is just helping me build, kind of a way to track my business throughout the year, when I can go back and say, all right, here's what I did in January, February, March. I can go back and make sure I'm also then putting all this information back into my CRM, into Chime, to keep track of my business. If we're not tracking our business, it's going to be much harder to plan out yearly budgets, plan out what you're wanting in your business when you're going to have your highs and lows. Again, I know that my Q1 is going to be low, because I know the activities that I don't take care of in December to lead to a stronger Q1 into Q2. So I plan for that seasonality in my business, that it's going to be lower through the holiday season. I've also tracked it.
I was just going to touch on one thing that you had said, David, was whether you use your CRM diligently or religiously, and you kind of keep things on paper. I think what I like, and David shared those, is he does it on paper. He keeps track of it. He keeps, anything that comes in new or anything that he wants to follow up on, but then also, maintains and grows that database. I love the fact that you give us the opportunity to see you work through it on Thursdays. But when you keep that data in the actual system, it's also David's data. David doesn't lose those clients, so that contact info. Every time we lose a contact, we have to replace it with another one. So I think that it's great that David does both. He tracks things, and in handwritten form, but also digitally. So I want to touch on that. That was great.
The reality is, I'm just a faster writer than I am a typer. And so, especially while I'm on the phone, while I'm taking notes, whatever, everything's on paper right here with me. I'm always doing paper and pen, and I go back to my CRM afterwards and I'll input it. So this tracker sheet, really crucial for me in my business. And then if you remember this, let me flop this around real quick. You'll remember kind of what our significant goal was. What are we really trying to accomplish for the whole year? Breaking it down into our 3 priorities with 5 strategies to attack that priority and make it a reality in your business. Again, the intention of this, number 1, is to have an outline of what we're trying to accomplish this year, and a way to stay focused on getting to that goal. We have shiny object syndrome in real estate, where everybody and their mom is calling us to sell us this new system and that new product, and so on and so forth. And like I said, I wasted almost $30,000-$40,000 last year trying new systems to figure out what was going to work in my business. If I would have stuck to my plan last year and stuck with my 3 strategies that I know are going to get me to my goals, and I would have focused in on those and just stuck with my 3 priorities, last year would have looked a little bit different for me, right? But I was trying to take a step in my business where I could try to resystemize and reprioritize my business, restructure it a little bit, because I am trying to get more automated. Did not work for me. Nobody's going to do my business for me as well as I do my business for myself.
I like it.
Not to say that you shouldn't still find a way to leverage some things in your business, though. There's just smarter ways to do it. Does anybody have any quick questions about this? Does anybody want to share that either they've been using this or they are on track or not on track from what they set with us back in January? I need Jeopardy music. No, all good. Again, anybody that wants to go back over this on a one-on-one level, or if you haven't been through it yet, just let me know, and happy to jump back into this with you. But the exciting stuff now is to get into our productivity pyramid. All right. And again, this is something that Jared and I have really been conceptualizing over the last couple of weeks and months, and just really trying to dive harder into is, where do we really feel are the 5 main points of a business that anybody can look at and kind of say, yeah, here's where I'm at. Like, how can I gauge my business? Where am I struggling? What should I be doing in my business? What do I need to have in my business? We really feel like it comes down to these 5 things: foundations, training to grow confidence and competence, lead generation secrets and systems, conversion techniques and follow-up best practices, systems and processes focused on efficiency and effectiveness, and scalability and business growth. More simply put, do you have a good foundation for your business? Do you know all the basics? Are you competent? Do you know your contracts inside and out? Do you know your neighborhoods? Do you know how to run great CMAs, right? Are you a competent agent at the most basic levels? When you can set up that basic foundation in your business, everything else will compound on top of that. But if you can't write a listing agreement, you have no business worrying about the rest of this pyramid, right? Get back to the basics, build that foundation, grow up from there.
I closed deals before I knew how to get deals too, though.
And sometimes you are learning while doing.
Right.
No doubt about that. But part of that would be, then did you have a good mentor? Did you have somebody working with you to make sure that you weren't messing up, right? Haley is a great example of that, right? Actually the 3 of us on my screen, we're all at the top right now. It's kind of fun. Jared, myself, Haley, as brokers, we are mentors. We are here to help you. So if you are struggling in any of those areas, lean into us. That is actually our job. Our number 1 job is to make sure you guys are competent and confident in your ability to write your contracts and do the basics of your business.
Well, I think even, I think one thing that Bobby always shares and speaks to is, how many of us realize that this, we're actually running a business here. The foundation of this whole thing is us remembering this isn't, that we're we're our business owner, we're the CEO, we're the marketer, we're the, we're the showing agent, we're all these different things, and that's the big part of our foundation. Are we accomplishing the goals that it takes, for actually, us to actually like maintain and not even necessarily grow our business, but even just maintain our business.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Right.
I'm in year 4 now of selling. The biggest thing they told us though is time blocking and telling people no. Yes. I am at work. And I think that's huge because people see you work from home. So they're just like, shit, Brandy can do it. But no, I'm at work.
Right.
Well, right. And I think it's being self-disciplined. I think a lot of the times, it's too easy for us to attach ourselves to something else that maybe we enjoy more than what it is, that actually drives our business. Distractions are far too easy when we want them. Right.
You're totally right, because I'm the one that's like, oh, the laundry needs done, so it's time to do laundry. But
and I don't even like doing laundry.
But it's something different. You can look away from the computer for a minute.
Right.
Well, but I like what you said though. Brandy, is dedicated time's a big part of it.
And I've heard it said before too, like, don't mistake busyness for productivity, right? Like, you can be busy, but what are you actually doing? And is it actually productive? And is it money and income producing activities, right? I think we all get so caught up in the minutia of this business and literally getting distracted by everything else. And, as I sit down to even make my phone calls, like, I can easily stretch an entire hour and make it where somehow for an hour I only made 2 phone calls because I was doing so many other little things while I was trying to make those 2 calls, right? That was not a productive hour then. I was just busy for an hour and it was not doing anything, and so
Good
time
point. I need to
blocking.
tell myself no too.
Yeah. Oh, it's so, and that discipline, right? And here's the thing about discipline and motivation. It's like, it's never it's, you never just fully become disciplined and you're never just fully motivated. It comes in spurts, right? And you just have to learn how to get yourself motivated in those spurts to be able to accomplish those tasks that you need to get done. And I have to reward myself, at the top of every hour or every 2 hours, right? Get another coffee, go do something that I love. Take a quick drive over to Starbucks just to get out for a second and refresh your brain. And I give myself those little wins throughout the day to come back and feel re-energized and remotivated to then tackle the next steps and be productive in those moments.
Right.
So yeah, time blocking, one of the hardest things to learn how to do in this business, right? When you don't have that extra manager or the corporate structure breathing down your back to make sure you are accomplishing tasks, that is us. We have to do it for ourselves. And it's absolutely difficult to do. So again, building upon the foundations, next comes lead generation secrets and systems, right? How do I actually now generate the business that I've now built the foundation to go work? And if you don't know how to grow your own business yet, if you don't know where you're getting leads from, if you don't know how to work your database, if you don't even know how to build a database, what the database is, we got to work on number 2, right? We got to start compiling that strategy for you, how you are going to get your business and grow it and what that's going to look like for you.
Haley, I got a question for you. You had said that a lot of your work comes from referrals, which is obviously everybody's objective. And obviously you've been in this years, years to where, it took the time to grow, people that were aware of it. But what are some of the things you did, or what are some of the things you're doing to actually generate leads outside of just maintaining the referrals?
I currently do not, outside of hosting a booth at, did 2 home shows. I do Pride every year down at Civic Center. I'd like to get involved in like the People's Fair. But outside of that, I don't do Facebook advertisements, anything like that.
But what you're doing, I guess, is more face to face and kind of like kind of more local outreach kind of networking.
Literally, I pay for a spot to have a booth at home shows and Pride Fest, and I'm trying to expand that. That is really.
But Haley, I will say though that though you may not do paid advertisement on Facebook or anything like that, you are actually though engaged in your Facebook. So you are engaged in the conversations. You do post your little videos with your little tips and tricks about the market and what's going on and keeping people updated. And that is still another way that you are reaching your database and staying in front of your people and being a resource for them. And you are
growing those referrals that you're getting.
I do occasionally post, I pay Back Action Media to post for me automatically to my realtor page. I don't do a lot of posts outside of maybe sharing a listing or sharing my group's listings. I'll share, I'll share all Titan listings if I see them posted. Outside of that, I don't really do too much. Every now and again, I get brave and I post a video.
And every time we posted a video, I feel like I've seen somebody comment saying, "Hey, I've actually been wanting to get in touch with you about this." Like, I feel like somebody usually reaches out to you when you post. I've
done one, I guess I forgot about this recently. I did, goodness, I'm sorry, stop. I did one class, if you will, with my lender partner, just to talk about the buying process. Like, let's just talk about the process, as well as if you have any questions about, financing, today's programs, what have you, that sort of a thing. And we had 4 people. We had 8 people register, 4 people come, 2 people have already talked to my lender out of that 4. And it made me realize that for me, my niche is education. What I don't like about our industry is there's just a lot of bad information out there. So I try to spread the real stuff and the truth. Like, let's talk about what's really going on. And what I'm realizing when I do those types of things, that people really respond to that. I'd say the biggest post I did where I got the most engagement was where I said, okay, guys, what market would you rather buy in? A market at a low interest rate and you're overpaying list, you know, $20,000-$30,000, paying an appraisal gap, you know, waiving inspection, waiving everything just to get into this house? Or would you rather pay a fair price with a higher interest rate and get everything fixed, not have to waive anything, and be able to take your time and do your due diligence? And that I've got like 30 comments on that post. And matter of fact, I went to a listing appointment last week for a family member of my wife, and she brought that video up. And this was like back in November, I think is when I did it. And it actually helped me overcome that overpricing issue I was telling you guys about the other day, where I've been kind of struggling with some of my sellers, that they're just not getting it no matter what I say. And I basically told my client that, look, you don't want to overprice your house, told her whole thing, told her what I've been experiencing. And she said, well, actually, it takes me back to that video that you made. And she started talking about it. And I'm like, you get it. Thank you.
You listened,
So-
you watched.
Yeah. So people are hearing it. I was getting a lot of feedback from family members and just, you know, miscellaneous people saying, hey, I really liked your video. My problem is the time to be consistent doing that kind of stuff. And it is a goal of mine, but let's just be real. If it's not on your calendar, it's not going to happen. And I'm not putting it on my calendar. That's something I need to work on.
Right.
You know,
Totally going back to, I think it was Brandy, right? With time blocking and really making sure that we're committing to ourselves that schedule and what we got to do.
well, and I think it also goes back to something you'd said at the very beginning of the conversation was, you know, a lot of the things we're doing today aren't really paying us, but maybe, you know, months or if not years down the road. So the fact that Haley's putting it out there, but people are still having the conversations, you know, months later, it's obviously resonating.
And that's, I mean, that's half the game is very rarely in our business are people today business, right? It's not usual that you're just going to get somebody who's like, you know, I think I want to buy a house today.
No, yeah, you're not picking up a falafel or something.
Yeah, exactly. You know, this is not a 30-minute transaction. And so when you do have that consistency over time and you are just being a resource and people can tap into you and you just are staying consistent and staying in contact through systems and processes, it makes it a matter of when they are ready, when they become a client, they will come to you, right?
Right.
And everybody will always be an if in real estate. There's always going to be a time when. It's just, have you done your diligence to be the one that they call when it happens?
You know, I think also, you know, what this circles back to too is even if I don't end up helping them, there's somebody around them that I could also be helping too. So I mean, I get a lot of referrals from people that I've never closed deals with, but that's also because I've helped them, you know, along the way. So,
Right.
I got a question for Bobby though, with all of her infinite wisdom.
Unmute, Bobby.
Bobby, so remind me again when you got licensed.
1978.
Okay, so
I
that
was
was
10.
you were 10. I was -3.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah. You know, so obviously there's some time and position for you, you know, and over your time, what have you seen in the aspects of kind of lead generation? Like what, you know, obviously a lot of the things that are, you know, online didn't exist.
Right.
Right. You know, so you know, obviously local networking and obviously back, you know, there you had the local office and you had to go ask your agent to look in the MLS book.
Mhm.
You know, but since kind of we have this little this bit of instant gratification in technology, I guess what do you see being some of the most successful tips that you can share with everybody?
Well, mine has always gone into personal connection. And anytime you want now business, we all know that what you need to do is talk to other humans, because those are the people who live in houses. So where are they? Well, if you look around, they all have jobs. So can you go to businesses and talk to people? Can you drop off something about business, and it doesn't have to be about real estate. It has to be about advertising or something. I guess what I'm trying to say is you go where people are. And probably one of my biggest success strategies is talking to people and starting a conversation and figuring out how to turn every conversation that I have somehow I can manipulate it into a real estate conversation. Now I could teach those strategies if anybody's interested, but I turn it all somehow into a real estate discussion and then end up asking if they need any houses. And I usually do it with humor, and I am surprised at how often I get a response. But as we were talking about this quarter, I have probably for the last year been semi-retired. Like, I'm not trying to do anything. I really keep thinking maybe I should get my act together and actually try. But and I'm sure I've lost many deals because I still start conversations with people and I get yeses and then I don't follow up. So
Ah,
it's been a really lame job of the whole thing. But the learning point in that is when David was talking about continuing to market, or maybe Haley said it, continuing to market, even though you're not getting anywhere, but just stay in the loop and continue to do what you do. If I had continued to do what I do and I do what I normally do, I would have contacted those people. I would have been sitting behind my computer thinking, well, what are we going to do today? And I keep mine up on a whiteboard because I'm like David, I'm old school for actually a really good reason. So I just look up on my whiteboard and I see, oh yeah, I forgot to call that guy. I should probably call him. He said this or that, and I would have been sitting behind my computer. But when I'm dinking around playing retired person, I'm not sitting behind my computer. And I also noticed in the last few weeks that I haven't started real estate conversations with people. So I would start a real estate conversation with, I'll give you an example. So you go to the doctor's office and you're talking to the gal that's taking your blood pressure or whatever. And I will say something about her job. Then I'll say, so do you have to drive far? Especially on a day like today, it's a perfect day. There's snow out there. Do you have to drive very far to get to work? Oh, no, I live. Oh, how long have you lived there? And then I will probably end up saying, you know, people move every 5 to 7 years. It looks like you're ready to move. Good thing I showed up. Or I don't know whether you know this or not, but I can get you closer to work. We're having a tremendous sale on houses. How many do you think you need?
at least 3.
Yeah, so I turn everything into a real estate conversation, and I have picked up business for 45 years doing exactly that. Why? Because it's people that live in houses. When I play with this computer and send out anonymous things, and it's like somehow this thing just goes out there. I don't know if anybody's looking at it or doing anything with it. Now I love what Haley's doing with her videos because she's getting responses to things that she's doing. I keep doing expensive, stupid stuff where they don't get any responses. But what I get responses, I guess my advice to anybody that's saying, I want more business, is the direct way to go get it is to go out and get it. You know, in the olden days, we did do door knocking. Well, people who have houses to sell, that's where they are.
Still in there.
They're hiding. They're in there. That's where they are. We don't need to find them some other way. They're in there.
You're in there.
You're in there. Come out.
I know you're in there.
Yes, you can't hide from me. Open houses, they've come to you. It's talking to people. Going into businesses, I used to have a little article that I had on how to increase business. So I'd go into the mom and pop shop with the how to increase business, like a little brochure that I made up. And I would give that as like it's a free gift. It's a service. I'm bringing this to you about how you can increase your business. And as long as I'm there, I might as well start a real estate conversation and see who needs to move. So it's those direct approach kinds of things that I'm more likely to do. And they do net results. I mean, really, if I wanted a deal today, well, I don't know that I could necessarily just go get one today, but I know if I did for the rest of the week and I went out and talked to people, I'll find one.
I
So
like
I'm
that.
not worried about being broke because if I want one, I will go get it.
Totally.
What, you know,
Bobby,
so
I feel momentarily inspired just by listening to that again, because it does remind me 12 years ago when I started my business, I was 19 years old. And that's what I did. I talked to everybody, especially when I turned 21 and I finally got to go to the bars. I talked to everybody. And I did more business out of the karaoke room of the bar than I ever did with online leads. And it's because
Well,
I
the
just
trouble
did
with
that.
things that are online or in the newspaper or newspaper, who reads one? In any kind of a publication is you aren't real. And
Right.
so my fear as a customer is if I call you and it turns out that I don't like you,
Stuff
how do I get rid of you? I've
Right.
just called a salesperson. I've given them my name. I've given them my information and they now have my phone number and I don't like this person. How am I going to get rid of them?
right.
So that's why it's hard for me to make the call. I don't want to call a stranger. But if I met you at a gathering, at a meetup, at a meeting, and I liked you, I think, well, yeah, I'll work with that fellow.
And it's usually reciprocated, you know. I mean, there's no doubt about it. People work with people.
Right, and it's people they like. So that's why you get out and get face to face with them, because then they can see, yep, that's what she looks like. That's what she talks like. That's the kind of person I think she is. Let's work with her.
That'd be a person that I want to work with. Exactly.
Yeah, so that's why if I'm working with new people, that's the first thing. If you're ever broke, you don't have to be. Go out and talk to the nice people. And if you don't know how to start a real estate conversation, you're thinking, well, that's a great idea. I just am not sure I know how to do it. Please feel free to call me. I'll be happy to share, educate, give you tips on how to start that conversation, or maybe if we want to do that on one of these weeks, how to start that conversation. I'll be happy to teach you how to turn hello into a real estate conversation.
That's what we need. That's what we need. Brandy just threw in the comments. She's like, I would love that.
Okay, she's on.
We're counting you in. So here, one thing, if I could share something about Bobby, I knew that Bobby and I were on the same page when she said this to me. She said there's usually one of two things in regard to lead generation secrets and systems. One of two things is happening. You're either not having enough conversations, or it's the conversation you're having that's ineffective. And I thought that was perfect. And that's exactly what it really boils down to. You're either not having enough conversations about real estate, or if you are having the conversation about real estate, how's the conversation going? And if it's not going in your favor, it's because you're probably not doing it right. So I like that. Thank you, Bobby.
Yeah, and so I think those are, to me, that's probably a basic thing, because anytime, and David knows this, he was talking about his his Q1 not being what he wanted it to be. Well, he knows perfectly well if he wanted it to be any better. He knows how to go do that. Go talk to the nice people.
Right.
They're
Right.
out there. You can find them.
Right.
Go talk to them.
Right. They're still at the karaoke bar, David.
You're still there.
Well, I had a girlfriend that actually did farm bars. I mean, she liked to go out with her friends, and she went out and she was like a butterfly. She talked to everybody. She landed on everybody. She started up a conversation with absolutely everybody. She turned everything into a real estate conversation. She's a highly successful agent, and that's exactly how she does it. She farms people, find out where people are and go there.
Well,
And she's
there's no
doing it while doing what she loves, just being out, having a drink.
What's that?
she's doing what she loves. She's out, she's
Yeah.
out mixing and mingling. Here's a question, Bobby. Once you kind of realized that it was in the conversation and the art of the conversation that you were having, did it become more fun for you to actually generate the leads and find the additional business and make those contacts along the way?
Oh, absolutely, because it gives me the same pleasure. I've got people that I feel like I'm helping. I started a conversation. I do it lightly enough so that if you're not buying, that I don't make you feel like I'm a salesman trying to sell you a house. Because I already know that houses sell houses and realtors screw up deals. I can't make you buy a house. If I could, I'd be way more wealthy than I am, right? I can't
Right.
make you buy a house. So if you don't want one, I've done it a light enough statement that we can both laugh and move on to something else. On the other hand, if you answer me with that interest in real estate, interested in further discussion, then I can proceed with that and see what I can do to help you. And then I'm looking for instant business. So I'm not looking for down the road. I'm saying things like, so let's go see if we can find one of those. Fair enough?
Right.
Listen, I'll go check on that, see if I can even come up with one of those. If I can, I'll call you. Fair enough?
Right. You're closing the deal and setting the appointment in the moment.
Right, right now. You ain't getting away. You say yes, you mind. You either buy, die, or leave town.
Right. And it might be at your hands.
Right,
Yeah.
You know, and
No
so-
matter what, no matter the way, it's going to be at your hands.
exactly right. You will love me and you will like it.
Right. You know, so here's a beautiful segue. I'm going to pick on Bobby again. I think a beautiful segue into the third kind of, you know, phase in this is the follow-up best practices. And I think you even said it, Bobby. You're like, I'm good at collecting them. I'm getting them. If I went out today, I could get more.
Mm.
But where's, you know, that follow-up system and process, you know, is that an area of opportunity? And really what does that play in kind of, you know, that business growth aspect?
Well, and again, I'm gonna go back to, I'm so glad to hear that David does old school too. Because I like the idea of the whiteboard that's sitting, you know, right up on my, hell is the thing. You see it?
Yep.
My whiteboard. And when I get a lead, when somebody says, yeah, we're thinking about buying one, usually I jump on it and you go buy one. But if you say I'm not doing it and you have a good reason for not doing it until end of summer or something, then I'm going to write it on the whiteboard. And then as I am sitting behind my computer, you know, we got a lot of screwing around time trying to figure out what to do, because we're not doing anything. You look up and you go, I should give her a call. And then I think of what it is I'm going to say and give them a call.
Right. You know, so I think what I think I'm appreciating though is, you know, in spite maybe it not being digital, you still have kind of that dashboard almost. You're sitting in front of the list of names, your client database. I mean, it's still very much in
You know
front.
what? Here's what I like about it. It's there whether I like it or not.
It didn't leave.
Whether I'm paying attention or not. You see, with the computer, I have to click on something to make it tell me stuff, like I was actually going to do something. How many times are we just screwing around on the computer doing something else? So we're not paying attention to those leads. Why? Because we didn't bother to look at them. We didn't
Right.
pull it up on the computer. I don't have to. I have to walk past that thing every time I come into my office. Just sitting here daydreaming, it's looking at me.
Right.
So I can't get away from that one.
And I'd say,
Everything else.
and I think for me, it's got to be a hybrid of the two. I love my whiteboard, Bobby. I have the same setup, and I've got my hot sheet with me. But that is my now business. That is who am I working with right now? That I've got to figure out who can I get out this weekend, right? It is my now list. But when you do get those that are 4 or 5, 6 months away, or even a year away, I've got one guy that I've been working with since October. He said, "Hey, I really want to do something, but my bankruptcy doesn't fall off until April." Well, guess what, dude? You are not getting on my whiteboard because I'm not going to remember who you are in 7 months. But what you are going to get is into my CRM, where you're at very least going to get onto a property drip. Though we can't do anything today, I'm going to keep me in front of you with new properties. And number 2, you're going to get onto at least the weekly email from me, so that when that mid-April comes, and again, he's fresh on mine because it's April, and my system told me, hey, check in with Jim. The system is doing the back end follow-up on those that are waiting several months out. And Bobby, you and I have been doing this long enough. We know inevitably that even when the buyer says, oh, we're still 6 months out, we're not ready, they call you in month 3 because a perfect house came on and they're going to move heaven and hell to figure out how they're going to get it, right?
Well, I
And
think that's probably what you just said is a really critical thing for anybody who has, if you're newer in the business, the thing to never forget is they will tell you that they're not buying a house until,
yeah,
and I will guarantee you they will buy one before then. And the reason I say that is because it's just like, and we've all fallen into this trap. I'm going to buy a new car. So I'm going to buy a new car this summer. So I start going out at car shops now, right? And I'm looking around and I'm checking the prices. And the next thing you know, I done bought a new car.
Right.
happened to me last year.
Right. And so the same thing happens with houses. You think you're going to do it later, and the odds are you're going to do it sooner. So if you wait till the date they gave you, you're probably going to find out they already have one.
You missed it.
Absolutely. That being said, though, knowing that is going to happen, I don't want to rely on myself to make sure I'm going to call them every month or every other week because I know myself. There's
Right,
a good chance
right.
I'm not going to get to
Right.
that week. My system won't fail me though. My system will make sure they got emailed or sent that property out. And it's tag teaming where I may fail, right? And so I think we figure out what works best for you guys. But for me, it's the hybrid system. I gotta have both.
Well, and I think it
And I
also goes.
also am a pretty strong closer, so I don't go out with the idea that I'm going out to show houses. I'm going out to sell one.
Yeah.
Well, so what we need is we need David running behind the scenes for Bobby, and then you'll be the dynamic duo.
Except it's a little tricky with him in Florida, and
Well,
here,
and you in Pueblo.
me in Pueblo, yeah, my hot spot.
You're right. But I think that, to be honest, this actually flows back, right into then that fourth, our fourth little pillar there as far as the systems and processes, and really layering in, if we're generating the leads, we're doing the work, we're having the conversation, we're adding the names, emails, and phone numbers, we're acquiring the data, what are we doing to actually put those systems and processes in place to, stay in front of them? I like what you said, David. I mean, if you don't have a whiteboard and you're not actually keeping track of this on paper, I've got papers and papers and papers of stuff, but I think the difference is putting that system together, setting them up. Even if it's a referral, we had chatted about how do you maintain contact with closed clients. Just setting them up on that eProperty Watch, sends that content monthly, but also is that excuse of conversation as well. Once it's set up, it's set it and forget it. I don't have to worry about them anymore until they move. And if they moved and didn't tell me, I missed that one.
And I'm going to take this a step further too. On number 4 here with the systems and processes being focused on efficiency, effectiveness, I think this goes even beyond just what are your systems and processes to get a lead, convert the lead, and get them under contract. I think your system and processes also go with, do I do the contract the same way every time? Is the experience going to be the same every way? Do I have a system for making sure they're getting utility lists? Do I make sure that we're getting them the inspections the same way? Is the information I'm communicating the same? Do I have template emails built out for every step of the process so that my experience with my client just gets heightened out? Do I have a system for closing gifts, a follow-up a week later after they've moved in, so on and so forth? That all is going to raise your business to a new level and help with that referral business on the back end.
Absolutely.
Right? The teams that do this at the highest levels, number one, you're going to notice they all have a transaction coordinator, because the transaction coordinator's only job is to ensure the experience of the client is smooth, right? We are crazy. We are all over the place. We're prospecting, we're on appointments, we're at a happy hour, we're networking, we're doing this, we're doing that. God damn it, I forgot to send out the utility list. And honest to God, I did it to my cousin. Day before closing, my aunt calls me and says, hey, so did they transfer over the utilities? And I was like, oh my God, how did I forget for my very own cousin that you got to turn on the electricity? But it happens. We're doing all kinds of things at the same time.
Your closing gift was candles.
Anybody? Yeah, here's a log, put it in your fireplace. Hope you stay warm.
My bad.
You're going to be needing this.
Right.
Yeah.
Sorry, we closed on Friday. Utilities come back on Monday.
Yeah, good luck.
No, but I think that's right, though. Really the systems and processes, go far beyond. But, I like that, if we're wanting to go from the one closing to 2 closings a month, if we're wanting to scale and get to that next level, we really have to hone in those. If I was to, to highlight anybody, it's Brittany. Brittany has a system and process for everybody that she has from a buyer consultation all the way through close in a template form. She changes the details in between, but her client experience, I think, is hands down consistent, but it's also super efficient for her. She doesn't have to guess what it
Right.
is. She already knows what it is to put him through that.
Well, to speak to that, the funniest thing is when I did a deal in Denver in January, and I asked Brittany really quickly for an inspection recommendation because I've been out of Denver 2 years now, so I don't remember anybody. I expect her just to text me over a recommendation. She literally just took her template email and emailed it to me, and I was like, God damn, you just sent me a template. Like this isn't even. So this is what I send to all my clients. Good luck. Call one of the three of them.
Right.
You know?
And
But-
it says, hey, check out these things and do all
Exactly.
this. Right.
It was
Right.
perfect. I mean, that is a testament to her business. And then it's also another system and tool that she's put in her business to ensure that it's the same experience for everybody, but it's also bought her back time. She's not having to retype out every email every time, right?
And I
That's
think
part of the efficiency.
that's it. That's absolutely it. What took her one time an hour now is repeated in 3 minutes instead of an hour each time. So yeah,
Totally.
I think that's a great point.
And
So,
and so then
David,
to
did you
segue
say
that, I
that
want to
was-
try to, we're just a little bit over an hour now, so for brevity.
Hold on real quick. Actually, Bobby asked you a question, David.
Oh,
Oh, I was just saying, is that something that Haley sent you? Is that what you said?
Brittany.
Brittany did.
Oh, Brittany, okay. Is that what-
But I would not doubt that Haley has a very similar process.
I'm sure she does.
Hey,
No, that
Haley
you
and
didn't
Brittany
call
are
me.
very, very similar in their ability to be very task oriented and systematic. Jared and I are not.
What?
We're
Jared,
complimenting you.
I'm
It's a
not.
compliment.
I'm not sure what that was.
I would say, Jared, we are creatives and not so much type A people. It's just not our. God bless them, though. You got to have them.
I'm not
And by the
sure.
way, I think this is important to note. That trip to Pueblo was just a vacation. That's, I think,
yeah.
worked out.
Let's make sure this is clear for everybody. Bobby
Yeah.
does not reside in Pueblo now,
no.
I would go back to Albuquerque.
as you were.
So
Haley, were you going to say something?
What I was gonna say is that the things that I have created are just to help leverage my time.
absolutely.
That's it. But then I
And elevate the client experience.
yep,
And I can speak to Haley's ability to elevate her client experience because Haley and I met from being on opposing ends of a deal. And I've seen Haley in action and how she goes above and beyond to ensure her clients that this deal is going to get to closing. Haley bends over backwards for it. As she saw, I bent over backwards too because I was the one in the house making the damn repairs. Right. But that is why Haley also has a great referral business because of how much she goes into making sure that this deal is going to close and it's a great experience for her clients. They just keep coming back to her and sending everybody they love and trust her because she's ensured them and proven to them this is going to be a great transaction for you guys and great experience.
You
well,
know,
thank
so I was gonna say, that part of this listing book that I'm writing, okay, very slowly, but like 3 words a day. But I think that the thing that I'm hitting home most about that is that it's the genuine caring about the people. That's why they come back to you. That's why they work with you. That's why they like you, when they sense that you genuinely care. If you are genuinely just going for the money, I think they sense that too. And they will, if they work with you, they only work with you once. And
Yep.
some of them may not work with you at all. So I think the one thing that Haley, and it sounds like Brandy does the same thing, and there's probably others, but they're not talking, so I don't know. But that's those two I see that really coming with a genuine, I really care what happens to you attitude.
I hope that we do. This is a service first industry, and I say it all the time. We've got nothing to sell and only service to offer.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
And I think
And-
with that probably is the basis of a successful career. Because all the people that I've ever known that worked just for the money, they're out of the business.
Well, then and this is a selfless job. I mean, if we're focused on our own intentions or our own needs, it never works out. We're We're gonna miss it.
Absolutely.
True.
And with that, when you have all these systems and processes in place and your business is flowing and it's working well and you are starting to get tapped out again and your systems and processes, right? They're only good to a certain extent. There's a point where you as an individual you still hit capacity. All the systems and tools can be super efficient, but you can still only handle so much. You can only show so much, be in the field so much, and have so many clients at one time. You hit a point where it's now time to scale and grow, right? Whether that means growing a team administratively to help on the back end, whether it means getting a showing agent or a buying agent, a listing specialist,
Transaction coordinator.
Growing a team, right? Leveraging out what I would call $10 an hour activities, leveraging out your social media postings, your content creation, your paperwork, right? Your TC, leveraging out the things that you can pay nominal fees for so that you can focus on the money-making activities that you need to be doing in your business, i.e. lead converting and prospecting, writing contracts, showings, and closings. That's really all we should be doing in our business. And then following up. Everything else in your business can be leveraged out. It may not make sense to do it immediately because you may not have the funds to do it. While you have the time to do it yourself. And as you grow up and you put these systems in place and you become more efficient and you're more lean and you're busier, then it's time to grow and scale. And that is the pinnacle of your business. When you grow and scale is how you start being able to have your exit plan out of the business. Nobody wants to do this till the day we die, right? We all want to get out at some point. And agents never truly get to retire, right, Bobby? They die or they expire.
Yeah,
Oh.
exactly.
But you do have a way to be able to step out of the business, leverage others' efforts and systems in your business, and still collect some residual income in this. And that is by scaling and growing a team.
And I think, you
David.
know, sorry,
Oh,
what was
sorry.
that, Bobby?
I was just gonna say, David, old realtors never die. They just become listless.
It's true.
Yeah,
It is.
if I was to touch base on just the scalability piece, I think it really boils down to that work-life balance. What do you actually want to accomplish? You know, for me, when I first got involved, it was a balance of that work life. I had little kids and little infants where I want to spend time with my kids. I don't want to be, you know, drowning, you know, 9 to 5 and not have any of the time that I can't get back. So I think you have to ask yourself, you know, what is it that you want to accomplish? Really, what does, you know, accomplishment look like? But scalability, I think for me always was lead generation. If I could increase or control my lead flow, I could always control my closings as well. If I had no leads coming in, I had no closing. Leads are in the form of referrals or new clients. So I think, you know, scalability for me really was in the focus of lead generation and maintaining the actual business that I have. If I've started a business, why would I let it flounder or flop as opposed to just maintaining that growth along the way?
Yeah, absolutely.
This is
So
good
you
stuff.
guys, long term, you're going to be seeing this productivity pyramid a lot more in the future because this is something that we are really going to be harping on, if you will, or implementing a lot more in our business. Always pointing back to where are you at in the pyramid? Where do you feel you're lagging? Where do you feel you're winning? Right. And if you are in your business and you're like, man, this was a lot, and I feel paralyzed by analysis now, and I don't know where I'm at. Reach out to us, myself, Haley, Jared, Bobby. Let's take a look at you and your business. Let's sit down. Let's evaluate where you're at. Let's go back to our goal setting. Where can we really plug you into your business as we're working on these strategies down here? Where do we need to find the 3 pillars that we need to be focusing on most to better expound on your, your strategies here? Better expound onto the principles of the business that you may feel that you have more opportunities to grow in. And let's put it together and help you guys get where you want to go.
It's good stuff.
Yeah. Keep it right at an hour and 15 minutes. Does anybody have any questions, thoughts, or comments on kind of where we're at? Or was this useful?
Yeah.
I think one thing I got out of it is, you talked about hiring out for things like transaction coordinator, stuff like that. But I joked about like the laundry. Like I'm still a mom and a wife above and beyond everything. So maybe I hire a house cleaner.
Wait, Randy, the best $150 we spend every 2 weeks is our cleaner.
Absolutely.
I paid my kids to clean the house this last weekend. So
yeah, no, because then I gotta go chase you around and be like, hey, look, you disappointed me again. Shocker. Just kidding.
I used to beat mine.
But to your point, Brandy, I mean, I leverage out already. I do not clean my own pool. I do not mow my own lawn. I
I don't
mostly
clean my
don't
own
clean
pool either.
Yeah.
Me
We
neither.
got one.
Filled with snow.
But those are activities that can I do them? Yes. It is not worth my time to do them. I have other things that I can be doing that are more efficient and or that I want to go do. I don't want to be mowing my lawn on a Saturday in the humidity in Florida. I'd much rather be day drinking at the marina like I did last week.
Yeah, but
Right.
I think we better also be accomplishing the tasks that make us money first.
100%.
If we're not putting in the time, and I like that Brandy, you mentioned the time blocking. If you're not actually time blocking and dedicating specific time to accomplishing tasks, and dedicated time meaning accomplishing the task, Haley had even touched on it. If she was making the videos as consistently and regularly as she knew she should, she'd be seeing different results. But we all have examples like that.
So true.
Okay, I'm just gonna say, Brandy, if you wanted to call me, do you have my number or?
I do not have your number, but I would
I
love
will-
to chat with you.
It's 303-618.
Hold on just a second. 303 what?
618-2000.
Awesome.
I just
you.
put it in the chat for everybody. And we
Hey,
will
and
get
David-
Bobby lined up to do a little icebreaker. What do we call it? A little Bobby's icebreaker real estate combo.
Okay, yeah, whatever.
Right. Bobby's one trick close the deal.
Brandy,
Hey,
were you about to
David.
ask something? Yeah.
Yeah, I got a lead the other day that I bought from realtor.com, and he's like, I have no interest in Denver. But he was really a nice guy. I made that sound really rude, but he was really a nice guy. And he says he only has investment properties in Texas and Florida. So I thought I would shoot you his number if you wanted to chat with him.
By all means, yeah, shoot it over to me and we'll work out something if it turns into anything.
I'm not worried about that. I just figure, hey, somebody
Oh.
might as well get money out of him.
Yeah, you better get money out of David too.
Better get money out of me too. Yeah, by all means. I'd
David,
love to
what's
see
your number?
720-681-1051.
Cool. I'll send you his info.
What was it again? 720-681
1051.
1051.
You don't have his phone number, Jared?
Yeah, well, I got it. I just don't have it memorized.
Jared just learned how to spell my last name like last week.
I can't even say it still. It's not
What
even
is it?
complicated.
Heminger. Bobby got it in her first try. She can barely read.
She had a squint though. She was like,
Well, that's because it can't see, not because it can't think.
That's what I meant. You should barely see. I didn't mean she can't read.
well, thank you guys.
Yeah.
If you guys need anything, anybody have any questions, any last minute thoughts?
No, thank you for this and thank you for Thursdays.
Oh, you're welcome. Yes, and we will be back this Thursday, I believe.
3 p.m. Mountain, 5
5 p.m. Mountain. Yeah,
Florida.
5 p.m. Eastern. Gonna try just a little hour later. And surprise, surprise, if you guys are on this call now, I'm calling on somebody on Thursday to make a call with us on the group. So come prepared.
Yeah, no
Could
pressure.
be you, Tashina, maybe.
What was that?
Jared,
I said
Yeah.
I'm gonna have somebody else make a live call with me on Thursday, and it might just be you. So come prepared.
Oh, no.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh no.
Jared,
Yes,
I
ma'am.
called you back 4 days ago, and said, go ahead and call me. So,
I'm calling you as soon as we hang up.
could you call me from not your burner phone?
We'll see.
Does he answer his phone? Let's see a show of hands. Anyone? Does he ever answer the phone?
For me, almost always.
Really?
Shut up,
So
David.
you he likes.
No, Bobby, don't let him say that kind of stuff.
He just did. Now I know the truth.
He honestly, it's usually him having to call me because if I call him, I never reach him.
I don't know why they gave him a phone.
I don't even know why I have one.
I don't either. You don't
He
use
sent a
it.
pigeon the other day.
Yeah, I said you're right. That's what it is, Bobby.